Hello and welcome to Spirit Touched. In the Constitution, when our forefathers wrote the words, "We hold these truths to be self evident," what truths were they referring to? They were talking about the truths in this book. The truths in this book are the foundation of this nation. This book tells the truth, and that's why we can hold on to them. And it's also why we need to find our way back to these truths. We are a free nation because of these truths. The more we let go of them, the more our freedoms will keep on eroding, and that's not good. You see, when you hold on to the truth, it holds on to you. Now let's talk some more about hope. When our plans don't line up with God's plans, some people give up hope, and its flame starts to flicker. Just because our plans fail does not mean God's plans for us will. In fact, it means just the opposite. Why? Because nothing and no one upsets His plans for us. That's why we need to let Him have total control. He knows what's best for us, and that's what we get when He is in control. His best is more than good enough. One place we find hope is when truth is preached from the pulpit, even when the pastor knows it will upset some people. Recently, that happened at the church I attend. I say, thank you, Pastor, for being brave enough to preach what came into your spirit from the Holy Spirit. The truth is still the truth, no matter how much it upsets some people, and it needs to be told. People will rise to the truth when their spirit hears it. When their spirit ears hear it, and they will stand by it, knowing it will set them free. Yes, Mary gave birth to hope in Bethlehem. It was wrapped in the truth her son would preach and teach when he grew up. She didn't just give birth to the hope of Israel that night. She gave birth to the hope of the world. All we have to do is believe. Things like hope and truth don't compute in our heads. The awakening comes when they make that 12-inch move down into our hearts and then take root in our souls. That's why it's time to start moving some things out of our heads and into our hearts. There are so many hungry, thirsty souls out there that need the revival of hope to start flowing into them. First, we have to hear the truth before we can move it to that place of believing and let it give birth to hope. Knowing and believing are two different things, but they go together because one completes and complements the other. You can tell when one of them is missing because you don't feel complete. That's another reason why 1 Corinthians 13:13, God put hope between faith and love. You will know hope when you see it. Why? Because when it comes to someone who has lost it or never had it before, it doesn't just light up their eyes, it lights up their whole face. I say that because of Numbers 6:24 through 27. You see, when God's face shines up on you, everything God is shines upon you, including that peace that passes all understanding. Philippians 4:7. So take that leap of faith, cross over that bridge of hope, and see what plans God has waiting to be fulfilled in you. Yes, you can eat that worldly apple pie in the sky hope, but it won't get you very far, and you will only be hungry again. Why? Because you only get full when you eat those fruits in Galatians 5:20 through 2 through 25, and the bread of life, John 6:48 to 51, and do some drinking of the water that comes from his well, John 14:14. Sounds like a good diet to me. Another thing that brings hope is when our prayers get answered. That's one reason why I keep saying you can send your request to heanswerstwo@gmail.com. My team and I like to pray, and we like it even better when you let us know about the answers. Those things we just talked about in John and Galatians are good things, and you can never have too much of those good things. You can get beaten down and tired of those worldly bad things, but those heavenly good things build you up and make you feel like $1,000,000. How do you get this fruit? You get it from abiding in the vine, John 15:4 and 5. That fruit only grows in us when we do abide in the vine. To abide in it, you have to be grafted into it. Like we learned earlier, that comes from accepting and believing. When we are grafted in, we can tap into that root of hope anytime. In fact, all those good things are always on tap when we abide in the vine. Sounds like a good place to live to me, and best of all, there's no mortgage or rent when we do. You won't find a better landlord. You also get power and prosperity and victory when you abide in the vine. You can't put a price on any of those things because they are all free to those who abide in the vine. Abiding in that vine down here is what gets you that address in heaven. Knowing that is your key to hope, which unlocks the door to that mansion. So go ahead, send your prayer request to heanswerstwo@gmail.com,